When Countryball came to Pa Yoko's meatball stall to eat meatballs, because he hadn't eaten meatballs for a long time. While waiting for his meatball order, Countryball had a nice chat with Mr. Yoko discussing the war. Suddenly, from in front of Mr. Yoko's stall, someone threw a round object right under Mr. Yoko's meatball cart. Not long after, an explosion from under the cart made Mr. Yoko's meatball cart bounce far away. As fast as lightning, Countryball ran away from the explosion and stopped right in the area of the ruins of the building. Then Countryball spoke angrily.
How does this make a story? Why am I always the one who gets into bad roles when I don't get shot? There are also roles where I get bombed. The one who wrote this story has the same sentiments as me.
If this continues, I might end up being a victim of this story. Hey, whoever wrote the story, please give me a good role. Hey. Countryball finally returned home with annoyance in his heart. With the confidence of Hitlerball builds full power to rule the world. Hitlerball also built his military base by creating a large-scale tank and aircraft weapons factory, and he also recruited many young men to become soldiers. Because his determination to rule the world was strong, he continued to launch attacks on countries. Since then, Hitlerball has almost ruled the world, but many countries have also. War could no longer be avoided. In all regions there was resistance against Hitler's power. All countries that had been colonized by Hitler fought back to declare their independence. In a state of urgency, Hitlerball asked for help from his allies to help the war spread. Wherever the war occurred, many were starving and many were lost. Because of the very persistent resistance, Hitler was finally defeated in the war. Now power has been divided since Hitler's defeat. Many countries declared their independence. On June 22, 1941, dawn had just broken over the eastern border. Without warning, more than 3 million German troops, supported by thousands of tanks and fighter planes, crossed the Soviet Union's border. This operation, dubbed Barbarossa, was the largest invasion in the history of warfare. Luftwaffe aircraft roared overhead, dropping bombs on Soviet cities and military bases. German artillery fired relentlessly, devastating the frontline defenses. The surprised Soviet army had no time to prepare. Many bases were destroyed in just a few hours. Panzer tanks advanced swiftly, sweeping through vast areas with a strategy of blitzkrieg, deadly lightning attack. Villages burned, roads filled with smoke and dust, and thousands of Soviet soldiers were trapped and captured. That day marked the beginning of a titanic battle on the Eastern Front. which would become the bloodiest stage of World War II. In the brutal winter of 1945, Nazi Germany's power began to crumble. Their once confident armies were now overwhelmed on every front. From the east, the Soviet Union's Red Army continued to push forward, penetrating city after city, seeking revenge for the brutal invasion they had endured. From the west, Allied forces landed and pressed forward, slowly narrowing the Nazi territory. Berlin, the proud capital of the Reich, was reduced to a sea of rubble. Explosions, gunfire, and screams filled the air. Civilians hid in basements, while German soldiers were exhausted and lost hope. Adolf Hitler, once confident of a great victory, was now trapped in an underground bunker, realizing the bitter reality of his imperial dreams being shattered. On April 30th, 1945, Hitler chose to take his own life, unable to accept defeat. A few days later, Berlin fell to the Soviets. On May 8, 1945, Germany officially surrendered unconditionally. The defeat of the Nazis was not only the end of the war in Europe, but also symbolized the collapse of a power-hungry tyranny. The world celebrates freedom, even though the wounds left by war will never disappear.